Punctuality is easier than you think. Early is on time and on time is late. Let's talk about it. If you're someone who struggles with being where you need to be when you're supposed to be there, I have some thoughts. You know what time you're supposed to be there, right? Let's say your official start time is 1 p.m. Me, I like to arrive at the venue about an hour early. This gives me time to set up my off-camera lighting and scope out the grounds for a good place for the first look and the formals, depending on where the sun is going to be at the times those events are supposed to happen, or if it's at a location I haven't been to before. With a 1 p.m. start time, that means I want to be there for noon. When I enter a location like the venue into my calendar, it tells me how long it takes to get there, so I just backtrack my morning accordingly. So if it's a half-hour drive, I'll leave the house at 11:30. Backing up my morning further means I need to get into the shower no later than 10:30, so I should be finishing up breakfast and coffee no later than 10. Anything I need to do that morning, like ironing clothes or checking my email for last-minute communications from the couple, I'll do before then. Maybe I'll have time to do the dishes, maybe not. They probably need to soak anyway. And it takes about 10 minutes to shave my head, so that goes into the mix too. Most of my weddings are pretty local to me. I usually have no more than a 20 or 30-minute drive, but occasionally I'll have to drive a bit further to get to where I'm going. It's on these days where I have to buffer my drive time to account for potential traffic or something that might delay my drive. Let's say I have a longer drive, maybe a couple of hours. I'll usually add an hour buffer to that. If I get to where I need to be early, so be it. I'll just set up and start my day earlier. The couple is usually thrilled. They get a little extra time out of me, and it also gives me some time to ease into the day that I might not have had if I was otherwise rushing. The last thing you want to do is get to the venue or getting ready location late. Not only is the couple or client paying you for the time they contracted you for, it's just a bad look. You don't want to be the photographer who missed the bride getting into her dress because you hit traffic. Even though that's not really your fault, as a professional, I feel you should take this into account when you're planning your day. One time I was in a bridal suite at a local venue photographing the bride getting ready. It was coming up on time for the ceremony and the justice of the peace hadn't arrived yet. Evidently they got stuck in traffic on the way to the venue. The venue coordinator was getting ready to contact local officiants, and I was looking through my phone for local JPs I know just in case. The JP ended up only being about 10 minutes late, and thankfully they were in communication with the venue, so everyone decided to wait for their arrival. Clearly they didn't buffer their travel time and were the talk of the wedding up until the point they arrived. If your first stop of the day is bride prep or groom prep at a hotel, show up a few minutes earlier still if you don't know what room number they're going to be in. If you have to stop at the front desk and have them call up to the room, you might be in line waiting for someone else to check in or check out, which is a delay you don't want to have to deal with. Optimally, you'll have that information before you arrive, but sometimes it can't be helped. I always email my couples a day or two before the wedding and ask them to text me the room numbers when they have them, because they don't always until the day of. I have a final meeting with every couple 3 to 4 weeks before the wedding. At that point, things will have been a little more written in stone. We'll talk about their timeline, and I'll use that as my framework for planning my way to them that day. And this is how I think about every place I go. I know what time I'm supposed to be there, and I backtrack my schedule accordingly. I turn off my show, whether or not I'm at the end of that episode. I put away the iPhone games, and I get ready for what I'm supposed to get ready for. I was photographing a recent wedding, and at the end of the ceremony, the couple is recessing down the aisle, and I'm walking backwards photographing them. As they reach the end of the aisle, the door behind me opens, and a small family comes in. They see me and the bride and groom and say to them, "Oh, did we miss it?" And I'm thinking, and I'm sure the couple is thinking, yeah, you did. Of course, now that I've said all this, my friends are sure to give me grief if I'm even 1 minute late to anything in the future, but what are you going to do? As they say, if you like what you saw in this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Ask a Wedding Photographer. I'm Seth K, and I'm here to help.